You're on.
Okay.
Wait, one group.
All good. I need to be getting stuff done. Being that it's 6:35, I would like to bring this financial committee meeting to order. Why do I never remember the date? All right. While Drew's working on getting connected up, we'll work on an approval of the November 17th, 2025 minutes.
Motion. Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. All right. We are not ready yet.
Okay, well,
Hang on.
All right,
Okay.
I'll keep working on this.
Okay. Do we need, if we could, just make an agenda change so that we don't leave PFM here forever?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was hoping we could move 2 and 3 to the end and start with
That works.
Gorman
Okay.
and Associates.
Yep,
All
I'd
right.
love to do that.
So sitting back there in the back, and he's
Yep.
walking up now, is Bo Travis,
I'm on
the owner, I guess, of Gorman and Associates.
One of them.
Yeah, one of them. Our auditor, he's here to talk about the financial audit that they performed and completed, and give everybody here an update.
Yeah, we actually just released the report today, so you got copies in his office and you'll get.
Can we have that
all of it.
before the snowstorm?
So I'm just going to walk through, I'm going to walk through the results of the district audit for the fiscal year June 30th, 2025, and focus on 3 things: the audit opinion, the district's financial results, and the single audit related to the federal programs. The audit included both the annual financial statement audit and the federal required single audit. The goal is to provide assurance that the financial statements are accurate and that the federal funds were administered in compliance with applicable requirements. All right. I'll start with the most important, the audit opinion. We issued an unmodified or clean audit opinion on the district's financials. That means the financial statements are fairly presented in all material respects in accordance with accounting standards. We did not identify any material weaknesses and internal controls over financial reporting, and we did not identify any instances of material non-compliance. So from an audit standpoint, this is a strong result. District-wide financial results. All right, looking at the district as a whole, the total net position increased of approximately $2.1 million during the year. Governmental activities increased about 1.7, and food service increased about 430,000. Now, I want to clarify one point that often causes confusion. Even though the net position increased this year, the government-wide statements still shows a slightly negative net position. That's like 111,000.
That's pretty close.
That is driven almost entirely by long-term pension and OPEB liabilities, which is required under GASB accounting. It does not indicate short-term financial stress or cash flow issues. Revenues. Total district revenues were approximately $81.3 million. The largest source is local taxes, primarily real estate, about $44.4 million. The other local taxes contributed about $5.7 million. State and federal grants and subsidies totaled approximately $27 million, with the remainder coming from interest earnings and charges for services and miscellaneous revenues. The key takeaway is that local tax revenue continues to be the primary funding source for the district operations. Expenses. Total government expenditures were approximately $77.9 million, with an additional $1.3 million related to food service operations. Instruction was the largest category, about $46.7 million. Student support services, $6.5 million. Administration, $7.3, operational and maintenance, $6.1 million, and transportation, $4.7 million. As in prior years, the vast majority of the district's spending is directly tied to instructional and then student services. Fund balance and budget performance. At June 30th, 2025, the district's governmental funds reported a combined fund balance of approximately $22.8 million, a decrease of about $216,000. The general fund balance decreased by approximately $115,000. The result is significantly better than originally budgeted. While expenditures exceeded the final budget by about $555,000 or 0.7%, this was primarily due to unanticipated special education costs and one-time maintenance items. Overall, the budget was managed conservatively and within reasonable expectations. Capital assets and debt. The district ended the year with approximately $99.8 million invested in capital assets. Net capital assets declined by about $2.4 million, largely due to depreciation, exceeding new capital additions. Outstanding bond debt at year end was approximately $53.4 million, after making about $3.85 million in principal payments during the year. So debt continues to be reduced in accordance with the district's repayment schedule. Single audit, federal programs, and prior year improvements. I want to spend a few minutes specifically on the single audit, because this is an important compliance area. On prior years, the district had material weaknesses and significant deficiencies noted in the audit reports, and those were documented in the schedule of prior year findings. You'll find at the back of the report. I want to be very clear and intentional here. Those prior issues have been addressed. As part of this year's single audit, we tested compliance with federal grant requirements for the district's major federal programs, including allowable costs, reporting eligibility, and internal controls. This year, no material weaknesses were identified. No significant deficiencies were reported, and there were no findings of questions cost related to federal programs. From an auditor's perspective, that represents a meaningful improvement. I want to commend the business office for the work they put in to correct those prior year issues. The strengthened process and maintain clear, well-supported records throughout the year. The books were in good order, controls were operating as intended, and that effort shows as in the audit results.
Yay.
Thank you, guys.
Congratulations.
To summarize, the district received a clean audit opinion, prior year issues have been successfully resolved, federal programs passed a single audit with no findings, and overall financial reporting and controls were strong this year. So,
Good job.
Yay, good job. Thank you.
any
Good news.
questions?
So I also want to tie in the next item on the fund balance review. So this is from Bo's report. These are,
This is a general fund balance.
this is a general fund, correct? Yeah.
Right, remember that we have categories for fund balance. Non-spendable being prepaids or inventory, right? Restricted fund balance, that means it's restricted by some outside donation or some outside contributor who they give the school funds, so you don't have control of them. They're specifically for a specific purpose. Committed funds, this is where you guys can commit funds for the future of your total fund balance. And an assignment can be done by a management level. It can be done by a superintendent or Drew or the business office, they can assign budget. But typically, that you guys haven't done that, any assignments besides the balancing of the budget is considered an assigned fund balance. And then that's what's left there on the side, 2.7 million. So your total fund balance of that $13,419,032 is your total general fund balance.
Yeah. So this will need to be on future board motion to approve this fund balance as of June 30, 2025, because that's what's in Bo's report, in our final audit report.
Yeah, and you're really approving those committed
Yeah.
amounts. The other amounts, you don't have to approve because they're just, they are what they are, but
Yeah.
that's what you guys want to use the funds for in the future.
So the board can always change those. It's just we do need that approved to be accurate with his report.
Well, if they change it this year, and this is just for this year, like you can always change it every year.
Right.
But if you still don't want those to be committed and published, you can let us know, we can make the edits and change it.
Are you going to bill us for it?
Of course.
Twice.
Then we will have to change the numbers.
What's your discount for doing so well?
So any questions about fund balance or anything else for Mr. Travis?
No.
No, thank you very much,
Excellent
sir.
news. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And they're always great to work with. Bo
Yeah.
and his team is great to work with.
Well, we've been working with you since like the beginning of time.
Yeah, Bill Gorman started.
Yeah.
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 Funny is, Drew actually worked for Bill back when he was in
Really?
an audit firm down here in Quakertown.
Oh, wow.
From 2001 to 2006, I
Oh,
worked for him. Yeah.
good. Well, excellent job. Excellent job. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys.
Yep,
Thank you.
have a nice
Well.
night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, so we're going to move up the old public financial management
Yep.
presentation on possible bond refund.
Good evening, it's a pleasure to be here this evening. There's some hard copies for you. It's been a while since I've been here,
Yes.
2021 quite possibly.
Yep.
So this is Jamie Doyle out of, you're in Harrisburg?
Yes, Harrisburg.
In
Yep.
Harrisburg, for TFM, our
Yep.
financial manager.
And and we've been your independent financial advisor for many, many
Since
years.
the beginning of time as well.
Well, at least the 29 years that I've
Pretty
been
much,
here,
yeah.
and then some. So if you look at the inside cover of my handout, I always like to start off talking a little bit about interest rates and market conditions. And this is 3 snapshots of the same index. This is the B-Val curve, which stands for Bloomberg Valuation. This is a tax-exempt index, because as a school district, you get the advantage of borrowing on a tax-exempt basis, but you can invest on a taxable basis. So, you know, that's a nice little advantage that you get as a school district. So what that top chart shows us is we're currently at the blue line. This is a 30-year curve, and you can see the blue line is still slightly inverted. You know, yield curves, if you remember economics class, they're usually slightly upward sloping. Ours is not, and it hasn't been for a while. But as the Federal Reserve Committee, they control the very short-term overnight lending rate. As they have continued their actions, have started to decrease the short-term rates. The very shortest end of the curve has been coming down a little bit, and that inversion has been lessening each time they take action. As you look out the belly of the curve, you can see we're still well below the red line, well below historic averages. And as you get really far out on the long end of the curve, you can see we're slightly below or almost right on historic averages. So that's starting to be more and more attractive as you're earning a little less than you were there for a while, but you're earning very attractive rates on your investments in comparison to borrowing rates. That middle snapshot just shows this same index going all the way back to 1993 to give you a more historic perspective. You can see the all-time low rates were set in August of 2020. The last refinancing that you did was in 2021, so you can see rates were still really low then as well. That was the last time I was here. And then you can see in 2022, that big spike upward, where rates really moved away from us and have stayed at those higher levels since that time. And on the far right-hand side of that middle chart, you can see how things have been starting to improve here recently. The bottom is just focusing in on calendar year 2025 to present. So a couple of interesting things. In December, last month, the Fed lowered the short-term rate for the 3rd time. But look how flat that line is in the lower right-hand corner. The long-term market had not much of a reaction to that Fed action. The short end came down, your investment rates came down a little bit, but long-term borrowing rates did not really have a reaction in December. But we are seeing a nice little rally here in January, which is why I'm here this evening to talk about a refinancing opportunity. If you look at page 3, the refinancing opportunity is on your 2019 bonds. At this moment in time, the total principal outstanding is $7,620,000. We're past the call date. The call date was back on May 15th of 2024. That's the date to which you promised the investors that hold your bonds that they would get to keep them till at least that date. And then at that date or any day thereafter, it's the school district's option and your option alone if you would want to refund these bonds and call those bonds back from the bondholders. Your average coupon on this series of bonds is 4%, and the final maturity is November 15th of 2042. In that second section, just a reminder, these were bank qualified bonds. Bank qualified is the very lowest tax exempt rate you can get, and you can only get that if you plan to issue $10 million or less in any given calendar year, not fiscal year, but calendar year is the way the IRS works. And so the staying below that $10 million threshold gets you a lower rate and a 5-year call feature, a shorter call feature. You want that to be as short as possible to give you maximum flexibility in the future. In that third section, we're going to go through numbers in a second, but the process that we're proposing to use is actually the same process we used last time in 2021. It's called the dual track process, because our job as your independent financial advisor is to leave no stone unturned. And so what we do in this process is we do a competitive RFP to all of your local banks that you work with, as well as all of our PFM contact banks. We get those proposals back. We evaluate everything on an apples-to-apples basis, and what that means is we boil everything down to true interest costs. So we don't just look at the rate, we don't just look at the bank fees, We boil everything down into true interest cost, which is a single percentage for comparison purposes. And then we compare that best bank loan proposal with the bond market, and whichever produces the best economic answer, that's what we ultimately recommend to you. In that last section, parameters resolutions, the district has done lots of these in the past. The whole point of a parameters resolution is to put all of the parameters and approvals in place so that we can go into the market on the best day possible and not be wed to your board meeting dates, which might be 1 or 2 a month at most, which might not be the best days in the market. And so that parameters resolution will contain 4 main things: a maximum principal amount, which is always about 20% larger than what we really plan to issue. Because once I get the winning bid, I have to be able
And there we go. So, yeah, so through the end of December, again, not a whole lot of revenue coming in. So our cash balance is down to 36.2 million. And then you can see the capital reserve, 8.4 million as well. Anything else you wanted to touch on? No? And then we do have the bills.
Go Bills.
All bills.
Not anymore.
Thank you.
So if anybody had any questions about the bills, certainly the payments.
Bucks County IU that I just saw whip pass for 2.7 million. Is that what that said?
Yeah, so that's the,
179 million. I mean, 179,000.
That's the-
Long day.
yeah, that's the special ed agreement for their services for special education.
Okay, thank you. That's one question you won't get to me on Thursday. Okay. Yeah, I have to look them over.
Yeah, so you
I
can-
mean, if you have any email questions for them, just,
Charter school there.
yeah, charter schools, yeah.
It's going to be all your big ticket items.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep, there's a bunch of them. And substitutes.
Yep. Special services.
While we're doing it, all the federal healthcare resources.
So that's substitutes also, but they do, right, it's more medical,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, thank you. Yep, there's our audit.
Yep.
Is that all of it? Is that? is it
No,
just
that's,
one bill?
that's the final payment for that audit.
Okay.
Yeah, we spend probably about 24?
Sorry.
Look it up.
Darn
It's-
questions.
I'd say $22,000 to $25,000 per year for the
Year.
audit.
Okay. All right, then the local charter school.
Transportation, propane. So anytime you see something like this, it's a void check.
Gotcha.
There's a V there and it's a negative amount, so we voided that check.
Okay. I just paid MJ Ryder at work. Okay.
So certainly if you dig through it and you still have more questions, we can answer them at the board meeting as well.
Okay. All right. You guys have any questions? You guys.
Right now.
Okay. All right. So we can move on to our fund balance review.
So we sort of touched on that when Mr. Travis was here. That's the, here, that's this one.
Yeah.
So we'll have on the agenda the approval of the final fund balances for the 24-25 year, which is those, if I'm thinking of the motion correctly, it really is, like you said, just those committed fund balances. The $5 million for future capital, the $500,000 for technology, and then the turf at 261. Which, while we're speaking of turf, we can move on to item
Yep, might as well.
C.
Yep.
So what I did is, Dr. Roach was contacted by someone that said, hey, I think I think the board had put more away for the turf field. So he asked me to take a look, and I dug back through some old board meetings. I was able to find, so there were board resolutions to transfer, just say, X amount into the capital reserve with a portion of X being designated for the turf. But like I said before, when you transfer into capital reserve, there really is no, on the financial statement, no way of sort of separating those two out. So it all just got lumped into the capital reserve.
Got it.
So these were there was a resolution on April 17th, or April 16th of 2017 that I found specified 119,490, and then in 2018 was 32,000, 50,000, and then 149 and 13. So I found $365,576 that was earmarked for the turf field that was transferred into the capital reserve.
Okay.
We have this $261,685 that we have set aside. That's a typo, it shouldn't say assigned, it should be committed fund balance, because the board is going to commit that in February when we have that on the agenda. So I labeled it the minimum grand total because just going through agendas, this is all I could find. It's possible that I missed something or missed another one, or there were some that were even further back than 2017. But I could find 627,261. That was previously earmarked by boards for the turf field.
I just remember one year us saying we were going to put $70,000 away. So that could have been any time from 2017 when I got on the board.
Yeah, and then so the timing there between 21 and what I found, so we had talked about this before, is that in the business office started to assign that fund balance in the general fund. So the money that's received for turf rental was then in the general fund assigned towards the turf replacement. So that 70 may have been one of those years in between 2021 and 2025.
Gotcha.
Because I found an email from a prior business manager that said, here's the amount that we have as of, I think it was 2021 or 2022, I can't remember. But I don't know what made up the amount, it's just, here's what we have assigned. So I went with that. Now I'm going to commit it instead of make it assigned to actually have a little more formal set aside for that.
Okay. Hey,
Drew, do you have any idea, and I don't expect you to have an idea, but what we bring in rental-wise yearly?
For the turf?
Yeah. Ballpark?
about
It's not
40,000.
Just rough guess. It's not really.
Yeah, it's all kind of lumped, it's all kind of lumped into our rentals.
I was gonna say it's probably one number.
Yeah, so
I don't know.
we can dig through and,
Just curious.
yeah, we'll get that to you.
Yeah, just good.
Another thing that falls in the general fund.
Yeah.
And it is, I mean, that
Yeah.
comment is true.
Yep.
That's how it goes.
So it's 627, 261 if we assign 261, 685 this year.
Yeah. So that's what prior boards had committed. Now, we sat here a year ago probably and needed to figure out a way to pay for all the roof projects that we had. And then that took all of the capital reserve money and added $200,000 every year for the next 5 years just in order to pay for all the roof projects.
Right.
I had that conversation without knowing all this had happened.
So that's not new money. That's
Correct.
money, that 260.
That 627
627
is already in that
already in there.
8.4.
Right.
Just that, yeah.
Yeah, which we then use that 8.4 to say this is how we're going to pay for all the roof. So
Gotcha. So we kind of have to earmark how many years do we say 200,000 for roof projects, which was what, two years?
no, that was.
Was it more?
I want to say it was 5 years, but I have to go back. and-
No, I mean so far.
Oh, so far.
Is it two?
Oh, two. So far.
Yeah, I thought it was two so far.
Yeah, I think it was 2.
Okay.
Yeah. So if we, and we can have, I'm sure the board would have to have this conversation, say, we want that 600 to go into the turf, then we need to adjust that 200 so that maybe now it's 300 every year, 300,000 that we need to transfer.
Gotcha.
I mean, we may have to, and I can take a look at that for a future.
Okay, that
Finance
would be
meeting,
great
if
if you
that's-
would do that.
yeah.
That would be great.
Mr. Roebuck, you're working with Dr. Farina on the revamp
Yeah.
grant.
Yeah, there's the potential, and I'll be going over this at Facilities Committee. What we're trying to do is go after both this year's roof projects and next year's roof projects within the grant, which would be 25 cents on the dollar. So if it comes out to $2 million, we only spend 500,000, so that would obviously be great. There's no guarantee on that right now, but
As we saw last year.
yeah, but we will.
Well, we've learned and grown since last year. and
Exactly.
Additional things, so.
Good.
Yeah.
That would be good. Let's
Yeah.
fingers are crossed.
Yeah, we're gonna go after
Is
it.
that a state grant, DCED?
Yeah, that's a Pennsylvania
Yeah.
DCCD.
Mixed in there.
Yeah,
75-25.
yeah.
Is it the state grant that we applied for that was rejected?
Correct.
Yeah.
I remember on the other project, we got a 50-50. What was
Yeah,
that?
we did
Right.
50/50.
The security one?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay.
It was important to the person that I spoke with, the previous employee, that those other numbers were identified, because there was conversations of, like, no one knew, so going back was helpful.
Well,
So,
I'm saying.
again, I'm saying, I know what I mean,
I haven't saying we did.
you know,
Okay. Perfect.
but that's helpful. There's-
Okay. I don't know, I'm writing my notes here.
Yeah.
Okay. Alternate transportation contractor option.
Yeah, so I asked Jen to come and talk. It's not only difficult for us to find drivers, but it's difficult to find drivers all over the place. So she has a potential option here for another company.
Yep, so First Alt is run by First Student. First Alt does your one-off transportations. They do your single transports to schools outside of your district. They'll do special needs transportation, McKinney-Vento, Foster, those kind of things. We're seeing a huge uptick in those students. We have out-of-districts that we're asked to help with, plus our own in-district students. Those are hard for us, because everything we have running, we have running. We have every vehicle on the lot running right now. So it's hard for us to kind of satisfy those things when we have students going to Chester County, Delaware County, all of these places. So this is a company who does van, car, small vehicle transportation. And again, they're with First Students, so we know they're very, they're up and up on everything. They train their drivers, their aides, they'll run aides with drivers. They do very much what we do, but on a different level. The one thing I've noticed is a lot of the districts around us use them. And when they use them, we can use them together if we have a contract. And then they can just bill both of us when we have to do the splits. So it'll work out really nicely. It's a contract that we're not committed to use. It's for as we need to use. We're looking at the pricing being possibly lower than what we're using the MCIU right now, because they're very costly for us, as you've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to try to pull some of those back if I can, because I can ask First Alt, do you have another student going to this location? Maybe from Quakertown, Pottstown, somewhere close by. And then we can jump on those rides. Or even just compare apples to oranges and see which one's a little more costly for us. So that's the goal.
Yeah, because they're far.
Yes,
They're
yes. They don't do big bus transportation. They won't come in and run a run or anything like that. And I'm not taking anything away from Christ Transportation. They're always going to be our first provider. That we know how that is. But this would help us a lot right now.
First Alt will not take any of the bus runs, you said, but.
They don't have big bus runs. You can go to First Student and contract them for that. First
Right,
Alt is
exactly.
just a
That's
little
what I started to
subsidiary.
lead into.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's similar to the relationship we have with Norms, like
Correct.
when we don't have an athletic run because the price doesn't have it or there's not available,
Mhm.
I often see Norms on that list that they
Yep.
pay per ride, let's say.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is. It's just a contract saying, this is what it'll cost us as we use it. There's no, we have to ask them first, or they know we have a contractor on the other side, so all of that's there. We would, of course, send it through Kyle, though, to be sure we're,
Yep.
you know,
On the up and up. Yeah.
on the up and up and good to go.
Okay.
But I'm looking for a more costly solution, hopefully.
Thank you.
Any ideas
You're
what the
welcome.
savings would be? I mean, like if you had to take one of them and use them for one of our daily trips.
It could be a good amount. I don't quite know what our IU is billing us till we get our subsidy report a year later, which is what makes things difficult. And then you see how much it costs per day, but they can be upwards of $300-400 a day depending on where we're sending the vehicle for just one student. Where if we're looking at maybe, $90 a trip, yes, it's 8 mile minimum, your cost per mile is $2.50. If I sent 2 students to Hereford that I know I did through the IU last year, if I sent those 2 same students now, I'd probably save about $90 a day.
Okay. And that's not going to affect our reimbursement or anything from the state?
No. Yeah.
I think so.
I make
just
the
asked
claim
them.
just like I do,
It doesn't matter who
correct.
it is.
Doesn't
Just
matter
that
who
it
the
happened.
contractor is. Yep.
All
Does the
right.
mileage start from their depot, or does it start from the pickup to destination?
It's from the home to the destination, from my understanding.
Okay.
So what's the hardest service trip? What entails a hardest service trip?
Oh, what's that? I'm sorry.
The last line, the hardest service trip?
The hardest service trips are to be determined, so they're probably gonna be trips with harnesses or wheelchairs or nursing staff or aid staff. Because you pay for your aide to be on the vehicle, you pay for a nurse to be on the vehicle, you pay more for a wheelchair transport than you would a regular transport.
And they supply those people? or-
Yes.
Okay.
Yep,
Well, that's good.
So they
Yes.
have a wheelchair service fee,
right.
so that would.
That would be additional on top of the trip fee. The
Okay, so
wheelchair
the trip
vehicle
fee
would cost more.
Would be,
We have that with Christ as well. The wheelchair cost is more than the regular bus. And then there's an aid fee on top.
right.
Yep. So we pay all those same, it's very similar. There's not much different between.
So they bring their own aid, their own whatever, and their vetting process is the same as ours?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
And you
I
want
would
copies?
I would receive copies of everything.
Okay.
I would have to approve them. You would then have to approve them like you approve Christ now.
Okay.
Everyone, I send everyone from Christ. Most of the people you're approving now are monitors and van drivers. I wish they were bus drivers. But they are monitors and van drivers as well. I approve everybody to be around children because you never know when a child comes to the lot or something like that. Everyone goes in the bucket.
Makes
So you would see Christ Transportation, then you would see First Home.
Right.
Every driver would have to be approved.
Okay. Peg, you had a question?
Jen, earlier, just a bit ago, you said about checking with Kyle. So we have to make sure we're not in conflict with the IU agreement, correct?
Not the IU, our Christ Transportation contract.
Do
We
have
always
to be-
want to make sure we're balancing both contracts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we have to be concerned about the MCIU
No.
agreement at all? No?
We don't have an agreement with the
No,
MCIU.
we just pay-
We contract them
They place-
individually.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah, we don't have a contract with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's this year's improvement. You're
Yes.
on it.
I'm really trying.
I know you are. Thank you so much.
Would that go into effect this year?
Yeah, as soon as we get it on, hopefully get it on an agenda and get it cleared through Kyle and get it set up, we can start right away.
How many students do you think would be in this transportation mode?
If I can pull some back from the IU this year, I certainly will. I have a couple new ones that are starting this week that are quite a far distance that they're going to be doing that I'd like to eventually move also into here. So my goal would be to give them everything I have and say, what can you handle, what can you help me with, and what are you going to charge me?
Gotcha.
And then we'll look at it individually.
Okay, and you said we can share the ride
Yep.
service with other school districts
Yeah.
that are on the route.
Yeah, so Quakertown has a student who is a McKinney-Vento student in our district, just, that's a one, just per se. They actually do use First All. Recommendation came from them for me to look at them. If we were to use them and they were to use them, we would have to do 50/50. We could pay both, like they could charge both districts and call it a day, and neither of us would have to worry.
Okay.
Do they have a depot that is fairly local?
They have depots everywhere for student.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, they're through First Student, so they're everywhere.
So have we crunched any numbers as to what the actual cost savings would be?
I can, but that's difficult with the
Yeah.
IU.
You said the IU, she said the IU doesn't tell
Right.
you until,
The next year's subsidy. They pull,
Right,
this year we pay for last year's services.
right, but so you know those numbers.
We have those numbers, correct, but it may not be the same students I have this
Sure,
year.
Sure.
That's where it's gonna be
think-
different, but I
think
can
the
certainly
savings- I
try.
think the savings is gonna come sort of like when Jen has like another run, okay, we have this new student that now has to go here. Like that, we can look at what the I mean, maybe we can figure out what the IU would charge, but we're definitely gonna know what this First Alt's gonna charge. And there's almost no question in our minds that it would be cheaper to go with First Alt.
okay.
Yeah, I'm just curious as to know.
And that's, yeah, the exact how much,
Yeah,
it
what
gets
the
tricky
savings
just
would be,
the way the IU does that
Since
billing.
we're counting every dollar.
And obviously, you've looked at, like, this would be seamless for you? This doesn't put more work on you? Or it
Correct.
does, or,
No.
okay.
Thank you.
We don't need you maxed out, you know.
Worse than you already are.
Like Leah's pointing out, if the savings is, you know, whatever, and you're flustered, like, oh, this company, that company, what are we, okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean, on that one trip, you had guessed 90 a day.
Yeah.
yeah, that's.
I mean, 90 a day is a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, for just one trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, the new one I'm just setting up now to start this week is gonna be quite costly. So I can ask the IU for pricing. They don't like that all the time, but I could ask
So
them
that
what our
$90,
cost is.
is that a round trip or one way?
The one going down to Delaware County is a round trip.
So the $90 is the round trip, is the savings on the round trip?
Per day, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
for some of them,
For
yeah.
some,
Yeah.
I was just,
This one I'd like
I
to
knew what your
see,
question was,
yeah.
I wasn't sure.
Yeah, no, yeah.
I got you.
Yeah, and some of them we might not save that much, but I'm just guessing from what this is, what the billing is on this, what I know I paid for that one. If I
Right.
were to do that again, I'd roughly be saving $90 a day.
Awesome. Thank you.
And what do we do tonight with,
Give us and the board a recommendation to approve the contract with First All. We can have it on the board agenda in February.
Okay.
right,
Pending the Kyle review?
Pending
Yep.
solicitor review.
I'm fine with that. Are you good with that?
I'm good with that.
I'm good with that? Okay. Thank you. Thank
yeah,
you.
thanks for digging around for us, thank you.
Yeah. All right.
All right, thanks, Jen.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see, moving on to financial and human resources software recommendations.
Okay.
Implementation as of 7/1/27.
7127, yes.
He's gonna
That's
say that.
important. So a lot of us, Megan, Georgie, Ann Fisher, and her folks, Elise and Eileen. We also had Renee Maurer, our payroll person. We all saw a demo of the new Skyward, which is called Cumulative. And we tried to find some other options, and from different recommendations that we heard from, we sort of ruled out the Power School option that was available. A lot of districts in Montgomery County have, what is it, e-finance is what they have. But it sounded like that wouldn't work quite well for us. Ruled out another one, which was probably 3 times that price. So that got rolled out immediately. So we looked at CSIU. Yeah. CSIU, it's Central Susquehanna Intermediate Unit. They develop the software for financial and HR. And just to get right to it, that's our recommendation to the Finance Committee is to go with Central Susquehanna Intermediate Unit, CSIU. The base cost there is $33,500. They have this SC View, they call it, which is, it's like a paperless option that seamlessly ties in. That's a little over $20,000. The difference between CSIU and Cumulative is CSIU does not do time clocks and it does not do the 1095 processing. So we would have to find other options. I worked with that company up there, AMCA, in a prior district that did 1095 processing. So that 1095 is the end of the year. It goes with your W-2.
The healthcare thing.
It shows that you had health coverage for the Affordable Care Act. Right now, CSIU doesn't have time clocks, but they're going to have time clocks. They're piloting it starting July 1 of 2026. They just don't have a cost yet. So that's the big unknown right now. You can see there the current, or upgrading to Cumulative, it would be $31,736. So Cumulative is the cheaper option. If we would go with CSIU and the SC View, we would be able to eliminate the Forecast 5 because, well, according to Georgie Ann Fisher, the IU is not using Forecast 5 anymore for the marketplace data. They're just they're doing it, I guess, in Excel. That's all that she used it for. I use it for the 5-year budget projection. In CSIU, they have that on the dashboard. So there's already, just right there, a 5-year budget projection using all of your actuals. So we could get rid of Forecast 5.
Okay.
How much is Forecast 5?
So that total there is $11,224.
Is it up there?
Yeah, so what I'm doing is I'm taking the Skyward cumulative cost, I'm adding those other items in there, and then that total is $52,536.
Okay.
So the applicant tracking, there's also something in the CSIU that would be available for us. We could get rid of applicant tracking, we could get rid of boilerplate, which HR uses for new hires. CSIU has that option. You send a link out to the new hire, they enter their name, they enter where they live, and that seamlessly flows right into what could potentially be our HR system.
Is that an add-on or it's included in the
It's a
price?
part of that SC view,
Okay,
but it's not added on to that cost, it's included in that cost.
okay.
So in total here, before the time clocks, it is $4,810 more for CSIU,
Okay.
plus, because we don't have the time clocks. We are still recommending CSIU just because, well, we actually have a whole list of things that we came up with. One of them being that seamless integration for new hires. They enter it, it just goes right into our system. So there's no duplication of data entry there. Just from an accounting side, if you go back and look at our prior audits, we were written up multiple years for accounts payable not being reconciled. It's much easier in CSIU. It's a simple checkbox. Is it accounts payable? Check. That's all that we have to do. With Skyward, we have to make sure that we are putting in the correct dates to say, okay, the date that we're cutting the check is July, but this date needs to be June 30th so that it then goes back into the prior year. It's more complicated.
10 different dates.
Yeah, it's so much
You
more
do it wrong,
complicated.
and you get one of them wrong, you're straight,
Yeah.
yeah, gotcha.
Have you looked at the teacher end of this? Is this where the teacher would look, where is my last paycheck? What is, my
Yes,
pay
well,
stub or whatever is?
We saw a little bit of that. Now, to be completely honest with you, in my prior district, we had CSIU. I didn't drive this conversation or this recommendation. She will verify I stayed out of it. I let everybody else sort of make that. So I let everybody else make that decision. So I was on the employee side of it.
Okay,
So I did go in there to get my pay stubs, to do all that. And I mean, I would say it's as good as the Skyward that we currently have. It's
okay,
probably a little bit easier to maneuver.
okay. Does
No,
it
it's
handle
definitely-
absences, like link up to ASAP or whatever it's called nowadays?
So it can.
Okay.
And it will if we get those time clocks. That'll all
Oh,
be
gotcha.
sort of integrated with our hourly folks and our salaried folks as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So it should just, it would be a one-stop shop.
And it's
So-
easier for you to,
And it's easier and yeah, I think there'd be some efficiencies and
it's catered to Pennsylvania.
they
Okay.
have over 320 PA school districts. And 40, I think they said 45 of them. They sent me a list of 45. I'm like, wait, I thought you had 320. Oh, the 45 is just the eastern side of the state. So there's a lot of experience in PA.
Okay.
How many districts do we have?
500.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's pretty good. To put it in a nutshell, if you're comparing, costs, the Skyward and the CSIU base are fairly close. And then you're going to be replacing Forecast 5, the applicant tracking, and the boilerplate with the SC view.
correct.
Okay, so that's fairly close right there
Yeah.
also. And you're also getting the 1095 processing, which you currently don't have
So it's currently done through Skyward.
done through.
So Skyward does have the time clock and the 1095 built in.
Okay.
CSIU doesn't have those. Well,
They're
CSIU is
working
getting
on
the time clocks. They
Yeah.
they don't have the 1090. They got out of the 1095
Any rough estimates for time clocks to be
Yeah,
given?
like
or
what if this ends up
5,000,
being the
10,000?
power school cost?
Yeah, so we're going to keep hounding them. I'm hoping they come up with pricing soon.
Mhm.
Maybe it'll be free for new customers that sign up.
I think it's free for those that are piloting it
Okay,
this
that
coming
makes
July.
sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't have a good sense. We did take a look at 2 other options for time clocks. And
85 things, all, and hurry up.
Yeah.
Okay.
so, yeah, so there is, and Skyward, they do say it's like unlimited help. But they sort of have to because they take forever to get back in. But,
It's back on
Unlimited
to
help,
saying.
not unlimited fixes.
well, they don't, so I did ask them that. I just said, how much, if we need help on something that's not working, they said, we don't charge for that. We help you out with that.
Okay.
Wow. Get it in writing
But as you said, the
Yeah.
response time isn't great.
Correct.
with
Yeah.
Skyrim.
Yeah.
And I can vouch for the customer service for CSIU. And I think they still have the same people there that I used to deal with 15 years ago.
Well, based on what you've told us and based that Skyward will be end of life in another year and a half, 2 years, yeah, we might as well start positioning ourselves
Yeah.
and moving forward to CSIU.
Yep. Are we good with that, committee?
Yeah, very good.
Yes?
Yeah,
Okay. Let her rip.
Great, thank you.
Okay. All right. The NCIU member services budget.
Yep, so this comes out every year. We need to get board approval. So this budget consists of the government relations support, the Office of Organizational and Professional Learning, and Office of Technology Services. So all listed in here is everything that is included in this budget. So this is them getting us legislative information, coordination of the Montgomery County School Directors Legislative Committee meetings. So that's the government relations side of it, along with some other items here. School Board Professional Development are included in there. And then the Office of Organizational and Professional Learning. So they do have these job-alike leadership councils that they list here. We do participate in, I can definitely say, almost all of these, if not all of them.
And we sure do use the MCIU.
Yep. Some other student-focused activities, all included in their budget. Technology, luckily Jim's here, so he can answer any questions, but we do participate definitely in the Zoom licenses.
And thank goodness after our technology outage that we have them to lean on.
We did lean on the MCIU, I
Yep.
believe, right, Jim? Yeah,
Yep.
so,
We don't use their internet services or our WAN, but, yeah. Zoom, the user groups,
the user groups, yep.
technology council.
E-rate.
All the rest of
Oh,
the
yeah,
stuff.
you're right, yeah.
Yep.
Pretty much everything except the internet on
Okay.
there. And now, as you've heard me say, a number of other consortium pricing things, similar products, products that we use already and things that they're adding that we can
Okay. We like to piggyback.
use. And we get Sentinel One only from them.
Yes.
At reduced pricing.
So then you can see here, the 25-26 total was $37,001, and for 26-27, it's going up to $38,613, which is a 4.36% increase. And that's pretty much across the board except for,
Granite.
yeah. But I think that's a unique situation. So,
Well, they only have 4 students anyway, don't they? Pretty much.
yeah, so it looks like across the board, it's right around a 4.4% increase for all the county.
Invaluable, that's not a lot of dollar amount. Do you need us to say yes?
To recommend board approval, we can have on February.
yes.
Good?
Yes.
Okay.
Maria, yes?
Easy.
Okay. Let her rip. We're very agreeable.
All right, and then I can turn it over to our Director of Facilities, Mike Robach, to talk about the salt spreader.
The dreaded salt spreader.
So essentially, we have 2 large salt spreaders in the district. One was recently damaged in the ice storm a few weeks ago. It was an ice/snowstorm. It was the one that was on our large dump truck, very important to our operation. So I would like to, if possible, get the proposal on the board agenda for replacement of that salt spreader. It wouldn't be the exact same one that we lost. The one we lost was 20 years old. When the accident did happen, it was the dump truck itself is fine. The salt spreader was completely shot. The new salt spreader that we're looking for is more of like a salt dog type, if you've ever seen those
Yep.
large ones on the back of trucks.
Yes,
Easy to load for our staff. It can
Yeah, sure. All right, are we all good with that then, putting it on the, recommending it?
Yeah.
Do you have,
Okay.
do you have the motion language, just send it to me?
I don't, I'll do
Send me
it.
something by in the morning.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Yep, thank you. Alrighty, let's see, 26, 27 budget. God, we didn't even
Okay.
do that yet.
No, we didn't.
I just
So
realized
knowing
we
we're,
didn't do that.
we're late, we'll go as
It's
quickly
okay.
but as thoroughly as possible. Oops.
Alrighty.
Okay, so I'll just skip, here's the timeline. I put it in the front of every presentation. So tonight we're on facilities, technology, business office, HR, and board superintendent. So we'll just skip right into it, and I'll turn it over to Mike to talk about facilities.
Okay, yeah, so you'll see some increases, and I'll explain why. Professional services there at the top, you know, and these discussions really haven't taken off yet, but if we start discussing some of the design prep that's going to need to happen if we are going to do a major renovation job in the years to come, you know, we may need to start adding more to the professional services budget. Safety and security, that's an increase just due to contract for Cardinal Point. That is going to be an agenda item on the facilities committee for Monday night. We did have a new proposal. Our contract with them runs through June, so there's a couple options there from them that they've provided to us. We've gone back and talked to them and gotten their numbers down a little bit, but I will obviously bring that to the committee on Monday. Then disposal services, again, that's just, that's the increase in the contract with Republic. You can go there. Again, grounds care, that's our tidy up contract increase. Repairs, that's going to be, and that's, I'm not sure if in the 24-25 we really budgeted at a good spot there. Last year, if you remember, we went up quite drastically. What I will say is if you add up all of our preventative maintenance contracts, we are at we're $240,000 just in that. So when I got here and I kind of compiled that spreadsheet, I was pretty shocked at that number. And then obviously, I think that 542 just falls more in line. You know, I know that we spent 630 the one year. I'm hoping that that's not where we're going to be. You can never tell with repairs and maintenance. But I mean, I know the team knows my expectation is to do a lot in-house if possible, but that's where you're going to see that number. Is boiler repairs, chiller repairs. I know that there's been a lot of work done to bring some of those mechanical systems up, but it's not everything. So that's another discussion for capital. And then, so that's
So I can talk about the insurance. So it's entirely too early to figure out what our insurance is going to be, but they do give me some preliminary numbers. So this includes a 10% increase for both auto and umbrella, and a 14% increase in our package, which the package includes all the equipment and everything. So we do have replacement value for our insurance policy. So all the costs are going up for all the equipment, which everybody knows. So once all the costs go up, then the insurance is going up just to meet any of that demand that may happen. So still too early, but those are preliminary numbers that they give me.
I wrote down the 10% auto and umbrella. What was the percentage for the
14% for the package.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry about that, but.
No, you're good. And then the supplies, is that where the 100 is?
Yeah, so there was talk about a weapons detection system. We didn't know what that would look like. So what Mike and I sort of talked about is we just ended up putting $100,000 in there. If the board, I know it was very early stage of discussion about something, we put $100,000 in that technology line item there. So if nothing happens, then we can cut 100. If something happens, then we have it in there.
Okay.
So that's where you see just a pretty drastic
Yeah.
increase there.
Yep.
If we take that out, it's a pretty standard increase with the, you know, the cost of our supplies.
Okay.
So here's an interesting one, natural gas and electric. so we never really know what's going to happen with that. But Provident, who we're locked in on cost for, those are budgetary numbers provided by them. We should be getting, those are kind of old. We should be getting new ones any day now,
So-
end of January.
When I was at the IU, they said this month.
And,
Okay.
and I'm really
Yeah, me
hopeful to see them.
Yeah.
I've been monitoring our natural gas and electric usage. It is way down. There's a bunch of reasons for that. One is, we've really been hammering the scheduling, not overheating our schools when no one's there. We're over air conditioning them. And then also on the days when PGM says that the grid is being overdrawn, we drastically reduce those days, which we've seen more revenue come in, but also the 5 worst days of the year and the 2 worst hours of those 5 days is what we're judged on for our future projections. So I'm hopeful, no guarantee again, but I'm hopeful when we see that we'll have some good news for you there. And then maybe we can adjust the budget as,
That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be great.
so,
Fingers crossed.
yeah, that electric bill's
Yeah, we
a
can.
lot.
Those 2 worst days, is that calendar year or is that?
It's calendar year, it's always July, August,
Yeah.
and it's always 3, 4 o'clock to 5, to 5, 6 o'clock.
Hottest time of the day.
Yeah, it's basically the hottest of the days, the 5 worst days. And we get those emails quite often, and we really attack those
You
days.
know how to respond to it.
Well, and it's 2 hours, so, the building's not gonna get that hot on an air conditioning day after 2 hours. So it's really, it's turned out to not be as dramatic as it, as you think. You just turn everything off and
We have to do that.
nobody
too.
really even notices it, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. Okay.
Oh, and that's just for permitting,
Yeah.
for the various projects.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's your $3.2 million for the current year budget and looking at about $3.6 million. But again, you heard from Mike what those increases are really related to.
And if we, there's a potential that the 100,000 comes off.
Yep.
And that the prices come down.
And that some of those items come down, we get more in line with where we're at.
Is there anything else for preventive maintenance that we need to get our hands on?
I don't think for preventative maintenance, you mean like contracts and items like that?
Is there any other,
I
any
think-
other gang that we'll have to
Well,
encompass?
No, it would just be potentially going to a different vendor.
Okay.
Combining schools. Right now, all of our preventative maintenance, HVAC wise, it's like, some come up in July, some come up in December, and they're all kind of, maybe even with the same companies, but
Yep.
all over the place.
All depends on
You know,
when you
looking at-
replaced them or.
Looking at doing a 3 to 5 year contract with one company, you know what I mean? There's various things you can do with that.
Okay.
But I don't think we're exposed preventive maintenance wise as far as the
That was the
actual,
question, yeah.
as far as the actual work that's done.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't think so. I was asking a question.
And we've done pretty well with negotiating those contracts too, at like a 0 to 1% this year. I've used the fact that I'm new here to my advantage.
There you
but
go.
I don't want to,
Sometimes you gotta use what you got.
so we'll see how long that lasts, but
Okay.
yeah,
All right, thank you.
thanks.
Anybody else have any questions? Okay,
All right, we'll turn it over to Jim to talk about technology.
yep.
Actually, maybe I'll butt in on that first line. So,
Jeez.
Jim and I were taking a look at his budget, and from many years, that we've always kind of split up the copiers into different functions and different account codes, and him and I just thought it would be easier to sort of move all the copiers, put them in a 2818 account code, and that's why you see a major drop there in that first line item. We were charging some of it to instructional. We're just going to push all of it into that 2818 400 for the copier cost. So that's the decrease. I guess you do have 500 or 5,000 in there for some Chromebook repairs that may happen.
If we have to take devices outside,
Yeah.
we internalized all that a few years ago, but every once in a while, we've got to send one out.
Yep.
get somebody else to
Okay.
repair it. We're doing a little bit better with longer warranties and so forth, negotiation in that place that helps us, but we need something just in case.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
I guess we'll just go line by, oh, can I make a motion to get a new camera? Just kidding. Supplies and technology, the 600 level, like what, Drew, 610,
Yep,
630,
650s.
650s.
Yeah.
This is mostly in the 650 space. And our budget, as those of you who've been around for a while with the board and our conversations, is it ebbs and flows and moves. One year, it might be heavy on hardware, and another year, it might be the renewal of some 3 or 4 year contracts. We try to avoid those, but sometimes there's a huge value and the only way you can get it, for example, to take 3 years worth of maintenance and SmartNet on a firewall. And then they offer it that way, it's supposedly because you're getting a discount, but you kind of have to take it. Sometimes it's just the discounts. We have a product called Jaytheon, which is our mail archive system. That's coming up for renewal, and that was a 4-year deal that the business manager at the time decided to take because it was well over a 10% discount year over year.
Right.
So things move. So my point about that is in the 600 line, if we look back in like 24, 25, 25, 26, it was a lot of lab work in there. There might have been $250,000 spent in there between, say, the high school and then the middle school last year. So I think the high school was 2024 and 2025 was the middle school labs. So Mr. Kresley's lab and the Mac lab and all that kind of stuff, right? This year we don't have that. We're falling back into the cycle of teacher upgrades. Teachers have been using their devices for 4 or 5 years, and they kind of go through the cycle. So we end up with high school, middle school, then the elementary teachers and their PC staff mixed in there, and then you get an off year. It's in those off years that we try to fill and replenish some of the labs and extend. And we do the hand-me-down the alley. We do the Mac lab, then the Mac lab from the high school goes to the middle school, and we get some more life out of that where we can. We also, as you'll know, used to lease machinery. So if you looked at these expenditures and the changes, we've shifted account codes, Drew, right? Because leasing would show up in one place, but purchasing would show up in another. But I don't have it, but we did an extrapolation at the time when we decided to get off leasing, where we would have been and the amount of money we've saved by direct purchasing. So we've gone to the well and worked really hard to work directly with Dell now, which at times you can do, and at times in my career you can't. They put you out to a bar. We're back with Dell, and they're very aggressive more recently with their education pricing. They're treating us really well. And we've tried to cut costs by shifting the style of machine that we use for staff, for example. We moved from a machine like a Dell Latitude, which is what we used all the time, and it had replaceable parts. We sat around the table and brainstormed and said, we're never replacing parts, we're never upgrading these machines. So Dell, what do you have? So Dell had more of a boilerplate system that was just as well in performance and so forth. So those are the kind of things we're doing, but that's effectively why you see that drop there is the higher cost to do like the XLab and Mac labs and so forth. This year we have just the 80 machines needed to do the high school slated in there at a reduced cost because we picked a different style machine to do that. So we're still a little bit worried. Headwinds. I don't know what to tell you about memory. I don't know what to tell you about tariffs. Everybody can say the same thing. Copper's up. You know, AI data centers are causing a lot of pressure when it comes to the hardware side. So we're happy that we've been able to set budgets and actually do better than those budgets year over year, but it's getting harder and harder, right? The costs are up. So overall, if you look at the bottom line, we're pretty flat. So all that to say we're flat, right? We're flat though because we're being aggressive in what we're trying to buy, just be just as satisfactory as a user and to the people that need to get their jobs done, making the deals where we can and we're going, service levels. But for the most part, that's where the changes come is in the 600 area. then you can see there's an uptick when we get, so we dropped in the 1110s, which is education side, right? Student, staff, what's the right way to say that, Drew?
That's the instructional.
Instructional, so the instructional side we dropped this year, but we come up about $120,000 on the more district side of this. Now, what falls in on this side is a lot of software and a lot of licensing, a lot of SmartNet and maintenance costs and all those kind of things. And no matter what we do, we're seeing headwinds there.
And that 115 included, that's where the copiers moved to.
Right.
That
So
115,000.
so that 115 jump is the copiers moving
Yep.
from one place to another. They were spread out across the 1110s. They're now all over here. Drew's taking care of that and bookkeeping, making things simpler for us too, which helps. But this jump on this, in the 600 level, is, decisions you've made with us, Power School, right? Other software and other maintenance fees and all these things, some of which I'm still chasing. So we're $20,000 under last year's budget, but I'm still trying to find a few quotes. So thank you. And so it's a tough thing to stick with. We also have, and I want to prepare you for this, you heard about this 500,000 that was sitting, and that's a good thing that
Yes.
the previous business manager helped us do, because next year we're going end of life on what I call the core, right? Our HyperFlex is going to go end of life. So this summer, we'll be planning and working towards the next budget cycle to figure out what we're going to do to replace all that, which was a good $400,000 or $500,000 when we did it the first time. But the money's set aside for that and was laid in for that.
Would you be able to come up with, and if you can't, don't worry about it, I'm just curious if you can come up with a chart where you're listing those items and kind of calculating when their end of life is,
Yeah.
years out.
Yeah, so we have some of that.
Just to get a visual of what that
Yep.
timing looks like?
Yeah, we could enhance that for you. We have a couple documents. We have one on the Cisco side, which is our wireless and our switching, and it kind of tells us when everything's coming end of life. The big ticket is that center core. That's our biggest item. And then we have another one that tells us when particular other devices are going to go end of life, other components that are in the facilities, certain lab things and other things. So yeah, I think we could. I'll try to sit down with the guys and figure out the best way to put that out for you so it makes
that'd be great.
sense. Maybe just a kind of a pivot chart type thing.
Because there actually is a plan now.
Yeah,
And thank you.
yeah, I appreciate that. So,
Just saying.
we can tell what's coming, and we've gotten a better cycle. We're off, the district itself, and you've supported this, is off the cycle of, we're doing 5 projectors a year and that kind of stuff, right? So there was some great benefits to that, and that's a good example, like when will projectors go into life and how many do we have? And that's the kind of thing we're thinking of. So we have some of that, but not in a real presentation form. We'll try to do that. Okay? So that's where we are right now.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you.
Do you guys have any questions for Jim?
He's done it right, he had an 18,000 decrease in his budget, so.
Thank you.
Hope I can hold
Trending
it.
in the right direction.
Yep.
On technology.
What's
Yeah,
that?
it's a tough
Hold
one.
it this year on technology.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about the things that I don't know. And
Yep.
that's,
30% increase to some laptop.
Yeah.
you see that. So what did we do? We just bought, we had it in this budget cycle. We normally would have bought in May. We saw this memory coming and the 30% increase he's talking about. We
Yeah.
bought it in December, and guess what?
Anything with memory or storage, next 2 years.
Copper. And then what did the vendor do? And as an example, I'll get off of this then. The example is the vendor then gave us an extra year warranty and gave us accidental damage because we
Nice.
were buying early. So
Yeah.
Nice. They're feeling the pain with us.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
good.
And my last question is, can I be relieved? I got Amazon fees.
Sure.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll jump into school board, superintendent, HR, and business office, and I need to come up with a better name for this because that is.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, that's way too much. The first line there, the professional services, it's a $14,000 increase. The bulk of that is I need to put in $12,000 for an insurance appraisal. I've been putting off, and I even think people before me have been putting off getting an appraisal done. But it's getting to the insurance
On what?
carrier is
appraisal on what?
all our buildings.
Oh, okay.
And then the
Just
contents.
asking.
Yeah, and then the contents too. So that's, I said a 14% increase for the package.
Mhm.
That's all just adding a 5% increase on all the value of all the stuff inside the buildings and the buildings themselves, but they really are pushing for an appraisal to be done. So I don't know if I'll be able to.
Who
pull them
pushes
all.
for that?
The insurance carriers themselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that makes sense, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The next line there to really talk about is you see a decrease there from 194,000 down to 150. That is our cyber insurance policy. So we did have a year or maybe two of very high insurance
Yep.
policy, and then we did find another option. Our broker found another option for the same amount of coverage, less dollar amount for deductible, and about $54,000 less in premium.
Okay.
So that was a win there.
We
And
have
then,
to look at that double asterisk again. Oh, boy.
yes. Yeah, so that line item there, it does include, just keeping it out there for the board to see the $5,000 donation to the Upper Perk Valley Library. It also includes an increase there for board-approved settlements, which are typically special ed settlements. Our auditors, Mr. Travis, who was here, tells us that we need to code any board-approved settlement under the school board line item, not under a special ed line item. So,
Okay.
need to throw a little extra in that line item for.
Didn't the library just get a big donation? I saw they got a huge,
Yeah, where did that, I
Donation.
saw that, you're right, I don't remember.
blind.
is for the what?
Blind. There's something, thing.
Blind people or like windows?
Blind,
Or
Window
something?
blinds.
It was for an item, it was not a.
For the window blinds.
Oh, gotcha.
Now, you laugh about that. Sorry, I got 30 seconds. Years ago, I used to work at a second job at night. And one of the guys working there was always talking about, yeah, I went to see the blind guy, I went to see the blind guy. And hey, one night he says, well, the blind guy drove here. It's like, how the hell's a blind guy drive? He's like, no, I'm working with the window blinds guy. So, moving on.
All right, that was good.
All right, so under the tax assessment, you'll see the drop there under the 500 line item, which is every 4 years we have to pay for bonding for the tax collectors. That's coming due this current year that we're in. So that's the bump up to the 60,000, and then we're coming back down to 44,000, which is more in line with the typical. And then there's also a decrease there under the 600s, which is eliminating the e-tax tracks, which is the BCIU tax collection software that we used to pay for our collectors. So there's a reduction there.
Okay,
Under fiscal services, so this is more,
let's move.
I'll ask it a different time.
no, we can go back.
I'm just curious as to why the bonding would fall under the travel communications 500.
Well, also under 500 is insurances. I just didn't.
Okay.
I probably should get rid of communications and put insurance there because that's the majority.
Okay.
This isn't 500. Well, there's also printing. There's a whole bunch of things that fall under the 500s, but
Okay.
yeah, I probably didn't label
Just
that
put
correctly.
3 dots and,
Dot, dot, yeah, that's right.
okay.
All right, fiscal services, which is more sort of the business office. As I mentioned, I did put $20,000 in this line item for for cumulative. So that would be their implementation cost because it was a higher number, so I just threw the higher number in here. Obviously, I can, if board approved, I can reduce that down
CSIU.
to CSIU, which would be an $8,000 cost for 16, 17, but that's under the 300s.
Gotcha.
Everything else there seems pretty much in line. So HR, the big item there is the substitute services, so that's our teachers. Years ago, we could not find subs, and that was, I guess, harmful for the kids, harmful for the classroom, harmful for the teachers. Now we're able to find subs, which is good for the classroom, but that comes at a cost. So you can see there the 24-25 actuals is right around 1.2 million. I'm hopeful that 1.2 is enough for next year.
Okay.
So that's the majority of that increase there.
On the good side, the fill rate for our substitutes is higher than last year. Fisher shared late last some weeks some data from year over year, and we're seeing our fill rate, meaning percentage of time that the subs are there, not relying on other people to cover type of thing, is stronger than 24. December 25 was much stronger than December 24.
Good.
So I should not be hearing that as a concern.
I know.
Not that I haven't recently, so.
Yeah, we haven't talked about that in a long time.
Alan, does that ebb and flow each year? But there's so many variables that go.
Yeah, I mean, everybody took a hit coming out of that pandemic thing we had a little while ago. It was struggling there. Yeah, it can ebb and flow. And I mean, you've heard from time to time, the rates matter. I mean, there are substitutes that are rate shopping, as that's their daily, and there are some districts that are way, way out front.
Yeah.
I mean, they're way out front.
Yeah. Yeah, we talked
But
about
I think
that.
I think we're in a good competitive spot. You guys have done some work over the past couple of years in that. But anyway, I just mentioned it because I just remember last week being forwarded the information, and it was definitely stronger in terms of fill rates, which is a good thing for our
Yeah.
staff and for the buildings to keep going.
Sure is. Okay. I did put a yikes by that. All right.
Then I couldn't squeeze everything on, so I just kind of did a grand total for this budget on the next slide. 1.8 million up to just over 2 million. So really the biggest chunk there is the substitute teacher increase.
Okay.
So here you can see, I added the date presented, so we did talk about those first 5 line items from charter schools down through transportation was discussed in November, and then our 3 lines here. I will tell you, so I'll probably do adjustments to these numbers in March, but that charter school line is going to go down because of the item that we'll talk about
that's
under
right.
informational.
So 400,415.
So that's for this current year, yeah, so that'll come down.
It's the second time you teased that.
Yeah, right. Better be true.
I'm hoping everybody's still awake.
Well, if not, he's gonna wipe out all
Yeah,
the
that's
kudos
right.
he got earlier.
That's right, yep. All right.
Thank you.
Any additional questions?
No.
No.
Excellent, lovely presentation.
Drew, I can access and that's where.
Okay,
So, yeah, that wasn't done until today, so I could not include that. It'll be sent in a board update. And it'll be posted on the website,
Okay.
hopefully tomorrow, if not tomorrow, the day after.
What was that?
That presentation
oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
will be sent to the board. It's also,
Somewhere.
yeah, it's also up on the website under Business Office. The link is right here.
Okay.
It is available to the public right
It will
now?
be, not right now,
Not right now.
tomorrow, hopefully.
Will be available tomorrow. Okay.
Under upsd.org, Departments, Business Office.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because he corrected that one number on there.
That was, correction was made at what time? 3 o'clock, 3:30?
Yeah, like this afternoon.
So there's last minute adjustments
Okay.
oftentimes.
It's all good. We like pertinent information.
Any chance you can put that in SharePoint?
That will be.
Or it'll be an
Usually he
update.
does an update after every
Yeah,
one of
it'll
these
be an
meetings,
update.
goes in there.
Yep. It's on the board
Oh,
updates.
like 2. Okay. Move on to informational. Charter school rates?
Yep, so charter school rates, we have a revised 363, so these are your rates right here. This 16,491 is our brick and mortar charter school rates for non-special ed students. 15,629 is our non-special ed charter school rate for cyber charter schools. So now every year, we're gonna have 2 rates for non-special ed and 2 rates for special ed.
All right.
So that is the current rates.
Is there a 363A and 363B form? Or is it a
No.
different number?
No, it's just
Both are
it's just
on
a
there.
different number. Yeah, they're both
I
on there.
understand.
Yeah, yeah. So this is the new one. So if you can take a mental screenshot right now
Oh, I
of
see.
those numbers. And this is the prior one. So we were at 17,000 for non-special ed. Now it's either 15 or 16, depending on cyber or brick and mortar. We were at 37,000. Now it is 35 for brick and mortar and 29.5 for cyber. So we actually benefit from that. There's a, how do you say it?
Are you going to put that in your thing for me?
Yes.
Because I didn't write that fast enough.
This right here, we're actually benefiting from, it must be written in there that you take your non-special ed rate times 1.89, basically saying 89% to be added onto your non-special ed rate to come up with your cyber that actually cut it down from 35,000 down to 29,500, which is just a weird nuance, something that was in the law that allowed that, to sort of put a cap on your special ed and cyber rates. And that is going to save us money.
Well, that's fine. Okay.
So that's where the $415,000, which was teased twice. Oops. So there's $415,000 with enrollment as of, I think it was late November that I used. So if that enrollment stays the same, we're going to save $415,000 this year. And I'll recalculate next year's, but I think it's somewhere in that same ballpark of $400,000 that we're going to save on the budget.
That's great.
So that's state legislation that came through that
Thank you,
really
Drew.
benefited us.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's 2 times.
All you.
Thank your legislators, showing that there's always more work to be done on charter school funding.
Just take the credit.
So that's that. I did, you can take a look at that IFO. Well, I do have that up here real quick.
Yeah.
So there's the IFO forecast for the Act 1 base index. So they're projecting 3.2, 3.3, 3.3, and 3.1.
Okay.
So, leveling out, dropping off maybe a little bit. But
It's
our,
still not horrible.
yeah, 3.5 is the base index. So again, we're under the adjusted Act 1 index.
Yeah.
This only looks at the base Act 1 index.
Yeah. Gotcha. That's why it was so high this year. Yeah.
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay.
And we also received our 5% discount for workers' comp,
Yay.
which Elise Moyer works under Georgianne Fisher, heads up that committee and files all the necessary paperwork to save us $7,600. So kudos to her.
Yeah. Thank you, Elise. All right, do we have any public comments? Go ahead, Peg.
I am requesting that the Finance Committee in the very near future place on their radar beginning conversations about a total and comprehensive renovation of the high school before it implodes. I would request that the board be taken on a tour of the high school, maybe several tours, maybe starting in the fall, when we get back to school for next year. And we really need to start talking about getting serious about the high school. We know the age of parts of that building.
Yeah.
It is a Franken building. It makes sense to renovate on site. I don't think you're going to get, many of us are going to get community support to build a new high school somewhere else. So I think we need to start having those conversations and start talking dollars and cents.
So here, and Jamie talked about this when she was here, but
Yep.
that far column right here, this 5.45 million, that's the debt service before it starts to drop off. So it'll go from 5.4 down to 4.7, down to 4, and then down to 3.36.
Yeah, it's still 2031 now, it's a long time.
Yeah, but that's your time to get, as she talked about, that wraparound debt. So if you wanted to keep that 5.4 million as your debt service expenditure, you could keep that level and then just sort of fill in with additional debt to do any kind of renovation as Director Pennypacker.
That's pretty much what every school district does.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But there's your opportunity. You got some drop off there in
Yeah.
debt, right around that 2029, 2030.
Yeah,
You put it on the agenda for 2029.
there you go.
Takes a little more planning, but yes,
We'll be back. All right,
We'll meet before then.
yes.
yeah, probably a couple times.
We'll also have to look at, what they might do down at the Western Center over the next few
Yeah, we
years.
gotta think about them too.
Yeah.
All right, any other public comments? Committee, anything?
Through
Motion to
Mike, thank you
adjourn?
for everything you put out tonight.
Yeah, thank you everyone for
Dr.
all of your
Rose,
good
thank you for directing them.
all those lovely projections. I would call for a motion to
Motion.
adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. It's concluded.
No.
Say, go home.
Oh.
After you were done.
That means go home.
No, I was just trying to help you.
I appreciate that. I got it right now, thank you.
I was trying to help you.